Praise the Lord, everybody. This is the second part in my my Bible study, the It Factor. The last video I talked about some of the It Factor and the kings of Israel and Judah. Now I want to focus on what the devil uses in our lives as our It Factor. I read the book, C.S. Lewis's The Screwtape Letters, and it gave me a good idea of how the devil works and messes with us. He uses a lot of things to draw us away from God. The first thing he uses is worldliness. We are a high-tech generation, and we must be careful with our technology. Our iPhones, our iPods, our iPads, our computers, and televisions, they can become idols if we're not careful. Also, be careful when surfing the internet. Watch out when the internet and Facebook take a lot of your time, and they take a lot of your time and more time than you give to God. Hear me now. If anything takes more of your time than God does, it should be considered an idol or a false god. Now I'm talking about things by choice. Peer pressure. Be careful who you are friends with. You need to be the influencer to your friends instead of being the influencee. Be careful when you're hanging out with an ungodly crowd because people may group you with the ungodly crowd, and that will destroy your witness. Influence your friends with your godliness. Don't let their ungodliness influence you away from God. Be a witness to your friends. Relationships. We need to be careful when it comes to relationships. We need to seek godliness instead of worldliness when we are looking for a relationship. Guys, look for girls who love God and are modest. Girls, look for guys who have a heart for God and love Him. If in the case you pursue a relationship with someone outside of the house of God, bring them into the house of God. Be the influencer, not the influencee. Make sure that God is the foundation of your relationship. A relationship founded on God is a blessed relationship. And when you're in the relationship, make sure that God comes first. The pride of life. Pride is a very dangerous thing. We must be careful of pride. Pride puts chains around us that will drag us to hell if we do not loosen those chains. The only way to loosen those chains is to humble ourselves before God and others. We gotta be humble. We cannot be prideful. Spiritual warfare. When we are on a spiritual high, there is a high tide. Where we can withstand the devil very easily when we're on a spiritual high. But when the things are low and we're in the low tide in the valley, the devil, he lays a beat down on us. He will slam us with all he's got, and he will kick us when we're down. He also preys on low self-esteem. It makes us think God doesn't love us and our ministries are dead. We must remember this. Satan is the father of lies. He's a liar and the father of lies. Now, I know I've been talking about doom and gloom for my Bible study so far, but there is hope. It is possible to overcome the It Factor. I would like to look into Revelation 2 and 3. Chapter 2 and 3. I'm looking at verse number 7. He that hath an ear, let him hear to what the Spirit saith unto the churches. To him that overcometh, to him that overcometh, will I give to eat the tree of life, which is in the midst of the paradise of God. And to him that overcometh, those are my key words. And those words are repeated in 2:11, 2:17, 3:5, 3:12, and 3:21. There is hope that we can overcome our It Factor. How can we overcome? We can overcome the it factor with prayer, with fasting, reading the Word of God, staying faithful to the house of God, fellowshipping with other children of God. Do not be caught being idle. And remember, an idle mind is the devil's workshop. Don't let the devil make an appointment with you. Stay booked. Let him know that there is no vacancy. Be careful what you look at. When you look at something that is not of God, that is worldly, that is sinful, that you know that is sinful, you are putting chains around your hands, and each second you look, those chains are going to keep getting tighter, and you will be bound by addiction. Be careful where you go. You do not know who you influence, but be careful where you go. You may lead someone down the same destructive path you are going down, and that is very dangerous. Be careful what you say. We must all give an account of every word spoken unto this day, on that day. So be careful, little lips, what you say. One last thing. Keep yourself from backsliding. If you're fading away slowly, grab onto the rope that is tied to the cross, and keep pulling yourself to the cross. Just keep coming to the cross. We all have an it factor in our lives, but we can make it as small as a scratch. We can either make it as small as a scratch or make it a big gaping hole, and where the devil can just pound at us all the time. It is your decision whether to overcome your it factor or let it overcome you. Just think about that. God bless you all in Jesus' name.